Hey guys, welcome back to InsaneBrit Gaming. I'm INSANEBRIT, and what normally would have been a News Friday story, like I said, I've been breaking up these individual stories when I find them and talking about them. Dedicating whole videos to the individual topic is my new kind of format. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. So yeah, PlayStation 5 news has finally dropped. I did say that 2020 was when it was going to come out, and then because of the head of Sony at the time said that to his shareholders that 2021 is when they were going to make profit, and that seems to be the gist of it. However, they are giving, there is in this article, they are giving uh, another time frame, and basically saying it was 3 years away. So that would be what, 19, 20, 21. So, but I believe it's 2020 regardless. After what he said and told the shareholders who they or stockholders who they can't lie to, or I'm pretty sure it's illegal. But anyway, PlayStation 5 details lists a number of features, including backwards compatibility for PlayStation games, PlayStation 4 games, sorry. No word on whether they're going to be PS1, PS2, PS3 backwards compatible with the emulator and stuff like that. I don't know. It would be amazing if they did that, but I don't think a lot of people have the PS2 games, or maybe they kept some PS3 games. Or PS3 games would be a lot easier to get hold of. Having said that, it has been confirmed it's PS4 backwards compatible at this point in time, which I think is great. So let's go into further detail. Sony revealed the first tidbits of information for its next generation console, most likely named the PlayStation 5, but that hasn't been confirmed. In an interview with Wired, Mark Cerny, lead system architect for the PlayStation 4, talked about his work on the PS4's successor. So I like the idea of that the guy who works on the PS4, who's made a success of that, and done X, Y, and Z, and it's a solid product in my opinion, is now working on the PS5. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm glad we got someone in there who worked on the previous one working on this new one. So I think that's really cool. How should I put it? It breeds confidence in me to say, yeah, this is going to be pretty damn good. And hopefully they'll right some of the wrongs that they did previously, like letting the developers have that technology way before it came out in respects to them making games, so there'll be more exclusives when the console actually comes out. Because we had to wait about 2 or 3 years before anything proper came out. And we've got loads of Assassin's Creeds recently and stuff like that. We've got all right, Anthem was a piece of shit, but it looked it looked pretty decent. So all those kind of decent games and Spider-Man, God of War, it's only just come out in the last 1 or 2 years for this console generation. So I hope they've let the developers get their hands on that technology and start developing games for it, so we're actually able to play some good shit when it comes out. But anyway, in an interview, confirmed next generation is that he confirmed that the PlayStation is partially based on the PS4 architecture, which means that it's backwards compatible. Sony also revealed that it is not an all-digital device. That's fantastic, and that it will accept physical discs. Wired article describes the transition from PS4 to PS5, as indicated by Sony, as a gentle one, adding that numerous games will be released for both PS4 and the next-gen console. The description of a gentle transition indicates that the PS5 will be an iteration of the PS4 instead of being drastically different from the way the PS3 was from its predecessor, because there was a completely different chip. So for example, the PS3 and the Xbox 360 had different chips, and it was very awkward for developers to actually make games for them, because it was like it weren't on the same architecture, so they were struggling with it, and it was a bit of a pain in the arse. In the PS4 generation, they kind of had similar architectures between the Xbox One and the PS4, so that kind of worked, and it wasn't a major problem for them. They just got hold of the technology late on and were basically struggling to adapt to it a little bit. But now that they've fully accustomed to PS4 and Xbox One, now this is kind of similar. I'm hoping that it'll be a lot more easy for them to develop games on them. But when he talks about the transition period, this is what I think is going on. They're going to start releasing games on the PS4, but you'll also be able to play them on the PS5, especially those in current development or already done. I'm going to throw out a name here: Death Stranding. We already know that Kojima actually plays Death Stranding. He plays it. So the game, I think, is more or less done, 90% done or 95% done, and but they're not releasing it yet. They're saying they can do touches here and they're going to make it perfect. And he only does one big epic game here and there. So which is fine. but he's making it kind of perfect. You can argue that point, and that's completely and utterly up to him. We've seen so many demos and stuff of it. However, what I think is going to happen is he's going to wait till that PS5 generation drops and then release the game. You'll be able to buy it on the PS4, and that's where most of these sales will come, and the people that want it on PS5 will also be able to play it. So I think they're kind of delaying it for that particular reason. Remember, he's got inside knowledge, hence he's from Japan. All the rest of it, you can only imagine. Okay. So anyway, he says, oh yeah, okay, so going back to the article, it's how housed in the console will be an AMD chip, and it has a CPU based on the 3rd generation Ryzen. It will have 8 cores of the 7 nanometer Zen 2 microchip. Although the console will support 8K, displaying at the resolution will be dependent on TVs catching up. Now, 4K, they say Xbox X can do it, or the PS4 Pro does some kind of maneuver where it looks like it or whatever. Not true native 4K in itself. So it's kind of surprising they're saying 8K. If anything, you would have went 4K, 100%, this is it, blah, 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 and you'll get the true 4K experience. However, they're kind of future-proofing it with the 8K stance. Because remember, if I did the math, this came out in 2013, technically 14, the PS4, so 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 6 years. 6 years we've had these consoles. That's incredible. Time has flown by, and that's a long time. So the idea of them future-proofing it, the 8K TVs, by the way, are eventually going to come out. I think it's this year, in a couple of months' time, or especially near the end of the year, to bring to the marketplace. If anything, most people have flat-screen televisions nowadays, but they haven't got 4K. I'm about to upgrade to a 4K television in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, and I'll be happy with that. I'm not willing to spend 2,000 or something, not that I've got it anyway, on an 8K television or whatever, and the rest of it. So yeah, future-proofing it, I think, is a smart idea. For those of you who will get an 8K television eventually. Again, I'm just upgrading to a 4K now, so I'm a little bit behind, but there you go. Okay, so the graphics, meanwhile, will be driven by customs versions of Raiden's Navi line. The graphics chip will support ray tracing, something which is starting to become popular in movies and video games. Although it is traditionally thought as a lighting technique, Sony says that there are some implications beyond creating realistic environments. Okay, so they're using the kind of Hollywood technology and stuff like that they use to make it even better. That's really cool. I like the idea of them doing that. Man, it's going to be expensive though. I can only speculate on the price, which they haven't said just yet. If you wanted to run tests to see if the player can hear certain audio sources or the enemies can hear the player's footsteps, ray tracing is useful for that. It explains it's all the same thing as taking a ray through the environment. I'm not too sure what that means. I have no idea. A ray through the environment? I'm not too sure. Whatever. Maybe their hearing's more clinical. I don't know. In fact, audio is one of the main improvements Sony is keen to talk about. The AMD chip will enable 3D audio, and this, according to Sony, is key to immersing the player deeper. This naturally leads to discussions of PlayStation VR. And while Sony didn't confirm whether a new version of Sony's headset will be released, the existing one will be supported. And that's pretty cool. So that's, you know, everyone who's invested 400 plus will be able to play this on the PS5. And I think that's only right to their customers in what is a very niche or new technology, which has to be perfected and go mainstream a little bit more and become more affordable. Remember, you're paying 400 plus for the VR, so the idea that comes obsolete when the PS5 comes out will piss you off. I won't go into details about our VR strategy beyond saying that VR is very important to us, and the current PSVR headset is compatible with the new console, he confirmed. Another key leap in the next PlayStation will make comes through its hard drive. According to Sony, developers let Sony know that what they want is solid state drives in the new hardware, as opposed to the slower equivalent used on current consoles. Now, SSD cards are faster, so yeah, basically it's going to scrap loading times or bring them way down. These SSDs are relatively prevalent right now in laptops, and what Sony is bringing to the next PlayStation is described as being specialized for the hardware. So specific ones, okay. Sony demonstrated the change an SSD introduces to gaming. by comparing a load sequence from Insomniac Games' Spider-Man on a standard PS4 Pro and a dev kit for the next-gen PlayStation. Oh, he had a dev kit with him, son of a bitch. I would have robbed him. On the former, it was around 15 seconds on the PS4 Pro, while on the new hardware, it was 0.8 seconds. Holy shit. That's a big drop. 15 seconds to 0.8. Damn, that's essentially snippety snappity snoop. You know what I mean? Like, come on, it's like a PC loading time. This certainly added has implications on how the world can be rendered too, which in turn impacts how quickly Spidey, their word, Spidey, can move through the world on the new hardware. The camera moves through the city much quicker as the hardware is capable of keeping up with rendering requirements. Oh, cool. That's really good. That's really, really good. I like that. Discussing the SSD, Cerny said the raw read speed is important, but so are the details on the input-output mechanisms and the software stack that we put on top of them. I got a PlayStation 4 Pro, and then I put an SSD. I put in an SSD. That cost as much as a PlayStation 4 Pro. It might be 1/3 faster. The shared architecture between the PS4 and PS5 will naturally create the path for games being development on the former to appear on the latter. Okay. One such game is Death Stranding, here we go, which is developed by Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions team. In an interview, Cerny was asked how Death Stranding fits into Sony's PlayStation 5 plans to have cross-generation releases, and reportedly smiled before a spokesman merely repeated the game would come to PS4. Obviously, this isn't clear indication of what Sony plans, but perhaps give a tease given the context. So he smiled when they talked about Death Stranding coming to PlayStation 5. So that basically does indicate to me that it come to PS4 because people want to play it. It's been hyped, and PS4 has been promoted for years, and that's cool, that's fine. But it will also come to the PS5, I think. I think it would be. They've already got the technology. The game isn't released, so they're probably using this extra time, this next year and a bit, or whatever, to port it over to the PS5 and to make those upgrades and those changes so it's ready for launch whenever they want to release it. I think it's going to be one of the most completed, polished, and well-prepared games coming out. Even if they've delayed it, it's not because it's a crap game, Anthem, but it's actually being utilized like, wait a minute, hold off, and we'll give them something even better. So that's really cool. You don't want your game just going on the old generations. If you remember, Tomb Raider did this and Hitman, and they expected to make around £1 billion. £1 billion. It was released on the PS3. It got nowhere near that, and they ended up actually having to release them on the PS4, but the impact wasn't the same. It probably made a bit more money, but you don't want that. You'd rather wait and then release them on the next console. You know what I mean? So I think that's what he's doing. I would. I really would. Sony didn't provide any details on the services of a broader overview of PlayStation's vision for next generation gaming. Instead, focusing on the nitty-gritty of its hardware, it is currently unclear when the console will be fully unveiled. Traditionally, Sony debuts at E3. The company have not got a usual press conference this year. This leaves PlayStation Experience, one of its new Nintendo Direct, like state play of streams, which I didn't really like. I thought it was crap. Or a standalone PS5 announcement event as possibilities. This assuming it plans to reveal the PlayStation 5 this year. Also unclear when Sony's PlayStation 5 in May 2018, Sony head of PlayStation, John Codera, said the new PlayStation was 3 years off. We will use the next 3 years to prepare for the next step, he said, to a crouch down so that we can jump higher in the future. So I think that he was talking about prepping for the 8K. So already having this technology in place, getting people used to it, and then they can go further with the next generation if need be, or go for even longer where they don't need to upgrade because 8K and all the rest of it is already supported, which is really smart of them, and I'm happy they're doing that. While Sony's plans are still largely unclear, Microsoft is starting to come into focus. The company is set to have an E3 press conference this year. Head of Xbox Phil Spencer said it's going to go as big as E3 as we've ever have. Blah, blah, blah. Confirmed Xbox is in development. Expected next generation console at E3 2019. More immediately suggested that an all-digital Xbox One S will be announced soon. This indicates this new console would not accept physical disc and designed for around downloading and streaming. Okay, so basically they're saying that Xbox might be going all digital. And they do have the Stadia coming out. That's Google's thing. There's another streaming gaming thing that's going on, that Microsoft are doing specifically. They're cloud gaming. But PlayStation haven't really said anything about cloud gaming just as yet. But there's no doubt a market for it, and they should have something for it. Or they could always develop it, but I'm sure they've got to be thinking about that in their minds with Google now, Stadia. Microsoft doing it, they must have something in the works, and just optional if you want it to be able to play your games anywhere, etc., etc. That would be the smart thing to do, so directly compete with Xbox, not giving them the edge over them. However, Xbox go with this how should I put it, not physical stuff and going all digital is not a good move. I don't like it. They're trying to be, it's a generational thing where basically the younger kids are used to downloading only, where us gamers have been doing it for decades. Are like, no, we love our physical copies, because if you have an Xbox, you say Xbox 2, and then it's all digital, I can't play my 4K movies, I can't play my Blu-ray, I can't play my older games. I've got to now download every single every single game on their console, giving the money directly to them, which is going to be more expensive because they fucking are on the store, which is bullshit in itself, considering I'm not even getting a physical copy. Plus, if they say, or something happens with my account and they suspect I'm doing something dodgy, or someone reports me for swearing, or whatever the hell it is, my entire account could be wiped clean. Alright, achievements and that are go and everything, but most importantly, all the money I spent, if I spent £500 to £1,000 on games brand new on day one at £60 a pop, and they all go, I don't get that money back. I lose everything. So I'm not a fan of digital only. That's bullshit. I think that the PlayStation 5 will have the edge over them in that market in respect to physical copies and that disk drive. I'll be able to play all my old games, which most people, let's be honest, have all these old games and stuff like that. Physical copies, and people collect them and stuff, especially like I said, it's only PS4, so we've only jumped one generation. It's not 3 generations like I said with the PS2. So there's that. But yeah, so I think they're going to have the edge over that. How in respects to oh man, I'm losing my mind now. The next one I want to talk about was the game space on the likes of GameStop and Game and stuff like that. If the physical copies are no longer for Xbox, or they're not there anymore, you can't go in there and explore and pick up a cheap game or discover something. They may just replace that shelf space with downloaded codes for the Xbox. Where you go in there, you buy a downloaded code, you go back home, you put the code in, and then you get your game. But that's not really the same experience. At the same time, what if that code goes wrong, but it's already been used, and then there's implications with that about having to go back to the store, proof that it's not working, and all the rest of it, and it's a load of fucking hassle, and it's not needed. So I don't know really what's going to happen with that. What's going to happen with the shelf space of Xbox, because they're not really going to be discovered, it's not going to be promoted in the gaming stores where gamers go. So I don't know. I think PlayStation's going to dominate that realm as well. I had another thing I want to talk about as well, and I can't really think what it is off the top of my head. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I completely went out my mind because I've been speaking so much about this. We know that PlayStation 4 is going to have 8K capabilities. We know that it's going to have the physical physical space to put in older media such as PS4 games and all the rest of it, and they're going to have their own exclusives. However, now with Xbox doing this so-called digital only thing, assuming they go ahead with it, that is just assuming they go ahead with it, but they're already testing it out with a so-called version of the Xbox One S digital only, which I don't think makes a lot of sense to me. Why bother with that? In itself, you're wasting money developing something. I mean, you're just taking away the disk drive and then mass producing it. What a waste of money, it seems. But whatever, they're trying this now. If they do produce a digital only Xbox for the next generation, call it Xbox 2, I think that PlayStation will still have the advantage and go, well, we can play our older media, and we've got our exclusives, come over here, and Xbox will be like, well, we've only got a few games, it's digital only, blah blah blah. Even though they could say it's more powerful, PlayStation 5 may have let the cat out of the bag here and have basically said this is our specs, and Xbox comes along and says, well, our specs are here, yours is there. So it might be a lot different, or it might be the same. I don't know, but I expect that releasing your info about how powerful your console is going to be is only going to drive Xbox more and say we've got the most powerful console again, etc., etc. I'll be honest with you, I invested in an Xbox, I invested in a PlayStation 5 Pro. I got the Pro not because of 4K as such, but more or less, even though it's so-called more powerful, and the rest of it, I just did it because I needed the hard drive space, and my other one was kind of breaking up, so I bought the Pro. To hell with it, I'm happy with it. However, now, I think PlayStation would have won that battle overall over the Xbox digital only. However, there is a key factor that I haven't mentioned yet. I think I've mentioned it before in other videos. I'll mention it here, and that is the exclusives. Xbox has been buying up competition. What's it, buying up competition? If you can't make the games yourself, Microsoft, Gears and Halo only, more or less. I mean, let's be honest, that's why I overplay on there. If you cannot make your own games because you're shit at it or you're too lazy to do it, buy the companies that make the games, and that's what they've done. I think they bought Sucker Punch, they bought Ninja Theory. I had a list of companies actually bought. I can't remember all of them, but I will tell you this: at the timing of that recording of that video, whenever that was, ages ago, they bought between 4 companies and 20 companies. It was in that spec, and that was like maybe a year ago now. So they might have bought and even bought more companies up, and that gives them, I think Devil May Cry, for example, was one of them. But actually, that's actually the new one's released, and they've actually got that on PlayStation as well, haven't they? So that is now an exclusive. But that's PlayStation. That's what I thought they was going to do, is they were going to release games on the multi-platforms, and you'll be giving Sony more money. If you're talking as a business strategy, having your competitors buy your games, and you own the company, and then you're getting money from PlayStation fans as well as Xbox fans, and they're playing your game if you own the company. So they've done that with Devil May Cry. But yeah, so they've been buying up 1 to 15, about 4 to 15, 20 companies at this point. And now they can say, right, for our next generation, we want you to make this exclusive, you to make this exclusive for us. And then that way they will get more people buying their console, and it will be better off this generation in terms of exclusives. And I think that would be the smart thing to do. However, I'm thinking that Microsoft are a little bit more, how do I put it? I think they want the money. They're very money driven. So I think they say, well, we've got 1 or 2 exclusives, maybe 3, maybe 4 with the companies we've got, but we actually are going to sell all these games to the PlayStation as well, which would kind of narrow the point of them owning the companies, but they would make money. They would get my money. They would get PlayStation 5 owners' money, and it would go to Xbox. Even if I'm a PlayStation fan, because I'm giving a company owned by Microsoft the money, making them profit. That doesn't bother me, but it's smart on their part to get the money. But if you're an Xbox fan, and you care about the console wars or whatever you want to call them, you're going, well, why can't you just make it be Xbox only, exclusive? Because that's what Sony did for a long time, and they were kind of winning, and they always bragged about it. Why can't we have more exclusives on our console, and cut them out, kind of thing? But then again, so the fanboy kind of thing will be there, and the exclusives want it to be more exclusive and everything. But then Microsoft is like, the money, and rightly so, it's a business in many ways. But yeah. So I think if they kept more exclusive to themselves, and they could do, or maybe they will do, I think that would be the winning point, because if there's more exclusives on the Xbox, or a lot of exclusives, and I want to play them, I'm going to have to go and buy an Xbox as well. Now, some people who are casuals will go and pick up a PlayStation 4, and I think that would be your best bet. If it's a good console, it's got the games you want, 8K, all this stuff, whatever, and you'll be relatively happy, especially with the exclusives and everything else. And plus, getting online playing with friends is a pain in the arse on the Xbox. But anyway, so PlayStation might be the better option. However, if there's like a lack of exclusives on the Xbox, what's the point in playing on that if there's only like 2 games that you want to play, Halo and Gears or something like that? So that was my kind of thing. But if you're a hardcore gamer like me, you'll buy both. I've bought the PlayStation first, and I hope to God I will do that straight away first, and the Xbox will be on on the shelf kind of bit for a while until I can get money to then pay for the next Xbox or whatever. So I'll probably end up trying to buy both consoles. I still got other games to play as well on the Xbox One. I've got the Halo 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever the hell it is. I've got one last Gears to play. No, two Gears to play. One of them is coming out soon on my channel or whatever else. I think that's Gears Judgment is coming out. It's a short playthrough, but there you go. But yeah, so I think that might be the difference maker is Xbox exclusives, because they bought all these companies coming to the next generation in theory. However, if they just want money, then I don't think they're going to take advantage of that particular point. They have access to those companies, and that's fine. But if they don't make them exclusive to Xbox, the PlayStation I think will win overall. I really do think that with their digital media, and I hope to God Xbox don't go down the digital all media, because that's just going to put a nail in the coffin, another nail in the coffin of Xbox, and it's anti-consumer. I don't like it. It's a design choice, but I think it's a bad choice. And it's either way. I mean, I'm sticking with PS4 anyway, first, and then I will go to Xbox if I have the money or there's enough out there for me to buy or whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and sorry about all the ranting and everything, but I had to give you all that information out and my opinions on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Which will you be buying? I'll put a poll in the tab. Sorry I didn't do it last time. I've done it now. It's up there for the previous poll. Previous question I asked in my previous video about Borderlands 3. I'll do it on Twitter as well. So Twitter and my community tab. Will you be buying the PlayStation 5? Are you excited for it? Will you be buying the Xbox 2 instead? Do you even care? You're going to be sticking with PS4? Do you care about 8K? I don't know. I'll put a question in the in the community tab, and you guys can vote on it. Anyway, guys, I will see you next time, and thanks so much for watching. Oh, and you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Donate to me via PayPal if you want to. There's a link on the banner on my channel. If you want to donate monthly or one-time payment to help me run this channel, that's up to you. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.